Welcome to my World History Notes, where I read from the book I wrote to teach homeschoolers world history. A Bible believer looks at world history. You can find it on lulu.com, amazon.com, or at the Bible Baptist bookstore. And it's not important to me that you agree with my conclusions or even like my conclusions or interpretations, but that you are studying world history and you know something about the topics I mentioned. Today, we're going to briefly discuss the Black Plague, Black Death, the bubonic plague, something that flared up often in the ancient world. Um, and we're going to just talk very briefly about it now, and then you should do some more studying if it interests you. I'll talk about a couple of books or something that might work for you. So I'm going to begin now. On to the Black Death. In 1338, a horrible disease flared up in the Italian port city of Genoa with symptoms of hard black boils which appeared under the arms and in the groin. Sufferers began to vomit blood. In 3 days or thereabouts, they were dead. It was the beginning of something called the Black Death. It was the worst epidemic of many plague epidemics, and even worse than the plague of Justinian hundreds of years previous. Within the next 50 years, the Black Death or bubonic plague, which was its real name, killed more than one-third of the population of Europe, with outbreaks recorded in all the major countries of Europe over the next 500 years. At its height, more than 200,000 towns and villages in Europe were completely without one living human inhabitant. Dried toads and goat urine were among the cures suggested, prescribed by quacks, well-meaning and otherwise. Doctors often refused to treat the plague victims, knowing how infectious it was. Those groups that did not suffer as heavily from it, such as the Jews, who followed the Old Testament cleanliness practices, were massacred as being the cause of it. No one knew anything about germs at this time, but if they had followed the admonitions given in the Old Testament, the outbreaks would have been less severe. Modern antibiotics and improved standards of public hygiene have virtually eliminated it from the world scene. The plague had a profound impact on politics, religion, folklore, economics, music, and art. One of the most interesting source books on the plague is The Black Death, a Chronicle of the Plague by Johannes Noel, Nohl. He reports that at Venice alone, 500,000 people died within 2 years. It's been estimated that this plague that spread through Europe killed 43 million people. Other cities were depopulated by the plague, such as Bristol, England, which had all communications with it severed during the outbreak to try to prevent its spread. It was often thought to be a punishment for sin, personal and national. It is believed that it was brought to Europe by ships containing rats, which had infected plague-carrying fleas on them. There's other theories about um, beginning the Mongol invasions because of them catapulting corpses over walls and cities being infested with disease. You know, who can say for sure for now. So next, we're going to talk a little about the British Isles. Then we're going to go on to Europe. But just thank you for listening and watching, and I hope that this spurs you on to do some studying on your own today.